friends. I wanted to share a major lesson that I learned from the Rooted Medicine Circle to deepen your knowledge and connection with herbs. A lot of herbalists feel overloaded and overwhelmed with the amount of herbs and the amount of information that's out there. So, in order to resolve this concern, the Rooted Medicine Circle had everyone choose a plant ally to work with throughout the entire year. And this practice is so transformative. It's definitely worth it. It's certainly something I'm going to continue to do year after year because it's so incredibly helpful. So the idea behind having a yearly plant ally is that this is the plant that you are mainly going to be spending time with throughout your year. Maybe it's a plant that you are already growing in your backyard or something that's naturally growing. Maybe it's a plant that you grow indoors, or maybe it's a plant that is prolific in your area. However you're able to source it, the important thing is that you really spend time to get to know this plant. So you're really developing an extra special bond with this plant. It's kind of like there are billions of people in the world, and there are certain people that you really spend a lot of time with, and you make sure to get to know, and you give, the special people in your life gifts, and you have this correspondence with them. You want to do the same thing, but this time with a special plant that's going to be, your best plant friend for the year. So this plant is, you're going to want to make medicine with them in every form that you possibly can with this plant. In my case, for 2021, I chose rose. So rose is great in adding to teas, amazing in honey, amazing for oils and salves, and so many different applications and ways that you can use rose and connect with rose. That was the main reason why I chose it, but this really applies to any plant ally. You just learn and find out, how do I use it? And maybe you invent and are inspired to use it in new ways that you never would have thought about using the plant before. And that's really the magic and the secret of the plant ally process, is by spending so much time with a plant, you gain your own personal repertoire of knowledge and experience with it, and you are able to be more creative with it. They recommend not only just spending time with it, but actually maybe drawing it, researching it, looking up are there any scientific studies about this plant, where can you find more information about this plant, and really going through every avenue to learn everything you can about the plant, to learn how to give back to the plant, how to caretake the plant, how to caretake its environment, learn what species rely on this plant, where it is in your ecosystem. Is it native to your lands? What animals are fed by the plant, or what insects rely on the plant. So you're learning about this plant ally holistically. So again, that helps for the information overload and the where do I start. Well, narrow it down to one plant per year, that you just find out everything you possibly can for a whole year. Love this plant, experience the medicine of this plant, and experience where it is in the world. It's beautiful, beautiful practice. So hopefully you feel inspired and you can start to see how transformative having a plant ally would be. And the next question typically is, how do I choose? There's so many herbs out there. I can't just choose a favorite. I can't just limit myself to one. How do you choose? And my advice from a spiritual perspective is that you put the intention out into the universe. You might start thinking about this in December, or maybe the beginning of January, whenever you want to start this practice. Put the intention out there. Yes, I want to have a plant ally. I want to deepen my relationship with the plant that's for me. I want to come to a greater knowledge, a greater understanding of this plant and its place in the world. And you put that intention out there, And then just kind of sit back in awareness, start to look for synchronicities, correspondences. You might, after you put out your intention, you might just walk around your backyard or walk around your neighborhood and keep an eye out for any plants that stick out or call out to you. In my case, to find rose, the house that I am living in, the previous owners have planted, I want to say, over 8 different rose plants in the backyard and the front yard. So that was like a no-brainer, like roses all around me. And then on top of that, it was also my grandmother's favorite flower. I had always been drawing roses as a child. It was one of my favorite things to draw. I've always been attracted to roses, and the symbolism and the meaning behind rose really appealed to me. So that's why I chose it. So you might find yourself in a situation like that where you look out in your backyard and you let your dandelions grow and you love your dandelions, and so dandelions would be a perfect natural choice. Or if you're big into dreams, you may find that your plant ally just appears in a dream after you've put that manifestation out there. Or you might look in your tea cabinet and you find yourself always gravitating towards a specific kind of tea blend. You look into it and you find, oh, the major herb of this blend is ginger. That would be a good choice for your plant ally. Or really, you can take a more logical or analytical approach to it where you list all of the herbs that you're most interested in, start to maybe prioritize them or shuffle them, start to do research on them and see what are some of their benefits and see if any particular benefit or meaning really appeals to you. Like maybe you're having some issues with anxiety and you find that holy basil or lemon balm is really great for anxiety, so you decide to make lemon balm be your plant's ally. Or maybe you're walking around the farmer's market and you find that they're selling a bunch of lemon balm and you decide you want to try growing it this year. There you go. That's your plant ally. And it might be easier to make the decision when you recognize that you can change your mind. Like, it was recommended that we go the full year. That way you get the entire life cycle of your plant. You can start it up as a seed or a seedling. You can see it grow. You can see it throughout its full cycle. In the case of the rose, you see them bloom and you see them go into having rose hips. So that's why the full year, it really gives you time to try making all sorts of medicine with it. It really gives you the time to research it. But we have had situations in the course where people needed to change their plant ally, and that's okay. This is your practice. This is your herbal practice. You don't have to follow any specific rules. This is just a guideline, just a suggestion to really give yourself the whole year. But things change. Like in one case, someone moved to a different house and found that there was a bunch of mullein all around their property, so they changed their plant ally to being mullein instead. So if something happens, you can always give yourself an out. Like if you're feeling like, oh, I'm not 100%, I don't know if I want to commit, or maybe you start kind of experiencing it and you change your mind, that's okay. That happens. You let it flow. Just the recommendation is to really find that herb. Just allow yourself to be called. Another fun thing is if you're into tarot or oracle decks, there are many different herbal inspired tarot and oracle decks out there. So you might want to pick one of those up, give that a shuffle and say, oh, what's going to pop out and be my plant ally for the year? So really trust the universe in that if this is something you're interested in, if this is a practice you feel called to do, trust that the universe will let you know which plant ally is calling you for this year, and be open to receiving some synchronicities and some information and some memories. Maybe you're just driving to work one day and you remember, like, oh yeah, growing up, I always really did love chamomile tea even as a child. Maybe chamomile should be my plant ally for this year. There's all sorts of ways, little things that can pop up that tell you, yes, this is my plant ally. And then just go with that. Go with that call. Go with that passion and experiment and just see where it takes you. And over a few years, now you've got a whole array of different herbs that you are supremely knowledgeable about now, that you have seen the herb throughout its entire life cycle. You have put in the work looking up the scientific research. You have put in the work looking at all other herbalists' experiences with this herb. You've talked with this herb. You've dreamt about this herb. Maybe you've put it under your pillow. You've drawn it out. And you can look back in 10 years' time and say, wow, I really know a lot about these special plants, and I really have a lot of now personal information that I can give back to my community. And boom, the more and more people do this around the world, you start to imagine how much more we could learn about these plants, how much more wisdom do they have to share with us, and we just need to take the time out to hear it. So I hope you feel inspired. I hope you feel inspired to try out this practice. And of course, I'll have some links in the description below. Particularly, the Rooted Medicine Circle was very supportive in me learning how to connect with a plant ally. So I really encourage you to try it out and see where it takes you. So thank you so much for your time, and blessed be.